Dana White has a very interesting relationship with the media. Dana White has a certain defensiveness and sensitivity to the media and how the media portrays the UFC and the media portrays how he handles his fighters. For example, Ariel Helwani, you can say whatever you want about Ariel. I have my opinions on him. I think that he goes overboard. I think he plays a victim. I think that and I agree with Dana to an extent. I think Ariel can be a bit of a weasel. I think he can start fights. He can give kind of passive aggressive comments that he used to even do in press conferences when he would be at the UFC press conferences, and then afterwards act all confused as to why Dana or somebody, a fighter, has a negative reaction. And he still does that to this day on his MMA Hour show. Now, I will say that Dana also goes overboard in his reaction to Ariel. Now, you see this a lot in sports with beat writers, beat reporters. When they travel with the team, they give the players really softball questions. They try to be on the player's good side. You see that a lot in MMA media, the UFC media. The reporters in these press conferences, when they're talking to Dana, they ask him kind of softball questions. They don't dare press him as much as Ariel might have pressed him in the past with his questions. Now, pressing is probably a bit strong because Ariel really would just ask questions that the fans, generally speaking, the fans wanted to know, right? So Ariel would ask questions of Dana that just weren't softball questions, right? He would ask Dana the tough questions, and I give him credit for that. Now, the way the UFC works, the way that Dana works, if Dana doesn't like you, if he doesn't like your questions, he's gonna ax you, and he's gonna limit your access to the fighters, to the UFC, and it's not just in that. So you see that a lot in these press conferences. You can tell when these reporters ask questions, and just not even just the questions that they ask when they cover the UFC. These people who have access, they kind of have kid gloves on, and they're scared to really go hard, like Ariel used to. Now, you also see that with fighters in the UFC. Now, this isn't just, for example, if the UFC asked something of a fighter, for example, do you want to do the Ultimate Fighter, right? Do you want to be a coach in the Ultimate Fighter? Or can you step up short notice and take this fight, right? Can you do this for us? Can you do this? If a fighter doesn't take these opportunities, if he doesn't step up in these moments to quote-unquote help the UFC, even though it might not be the best thing for him or her or their career, the UFC holds a grudge. The UFC remembers this. And this isn't just particular to media members and fighters. It's also, ex-fighters. If they after their fighting career don't handle the UFC with kid gloves, if they dare question anything that the UFC does or anything that Dana does, then the UFC kind of cuts them out, and Dana specifically will cut them out. For example, Big John McCarthy, the legendary MMA ref. Now, Dana does not like him, does not have a good relationship with him because he has questioned the UFC throughout the years, after he has left the promotion. So, again, media members, fighters, ex-fighters, they all have to kind of walk a tightrope to ensure that they don't fall into the abyss that, like I said, current media members, ex-fighters, fighters fall into. You have to walk the company line, do what's good for the company, even if it's not best for you, and you'll keep your access, you'll keep yourself in good graces with the UFC.